Welcome back, Twisters, and hey there, Sharks fans. Nick here with another San Jose Sharks news and updates video. Just wanted to round up some of the most recent news and things that you should be following as it pertains to Team Teal, as we have a little bit of a break in the action here for the Sharks. Of course, they had wrapped up a series in Colorado this past Thursday, but they won't be playing until Friday, February 5th against the Anaheim Ducks. The big reason behind that, of course, was that the Golden Knights had a COVID-related sort of issue, and so a couple of coaches in Petrangelo were held out and quarantined away from the team for a bit there, so that actually affected the schedule here. So we'll get into that in just a minute, but before we do, whether or not you're a Sharks fan, I invite you to join the Twist Brigade by hitting the big red subscribe button down below and hit the notifications bell. About 25, maybe 30 now, % of my content is dedicated to the hometown team for me, the San Jose Sharks. So hopefully we can have some talks around Team Teal together in the comments, live streams, and all that good stuff. All right, folks, so let's look at some of this news here. So I mentioned earlier, of course, the Vegas games were postponed as a result of the COVID-related happening there. So the Vegas Golden Knights and the Sharks have been rescheduled to play later in this month. So the first game that will happen is on February 13th. The second game will be on Thursday, February 25th. Both of those are in San Jose, and that's kind of significant because, believe it or not, on February 13th, that will be the Sharks' home opener. So the Sharks are going to start this season with technically 12 straight road games. When was the last time something like that happened? I have no idea whatsoever. So the next 4 games are going to be on the road, but they're still in the state of California, fortunately. So the Sharks on Friday, February 5th will take on the Anaheim Ducks, and the day after they'll also play the Ducks. So the 5th and the 6th there, right there, they got back-to-backs. Then they go to the Staples Center, not even an hour away, to face off against former Sharks head coach Todd McClellan and the LA Kings. So that's February 9th. And also Thursday, February 11th there. So 12 straight road games. Then they go home 2 days later against the Golden Knights at a 1 p.m. start time. So Sharks fans, be aware of that, 1 p.m. Pacific. And then, of course, the February 25th game at home against Vegas has been rescheduled as well. So as I alluded to earlier, the Sharks are back in San Jose. They practiced on Sunday, so I'm making this on Monday, and the team actually shuffled their lines a little bit here. So check this out, guys. This is coming from Sheng Peng of San Jose Hockey Now. Big fan of the work that he's been doing, especially with his new website there, so check him out if you haven't already. So check this out. We've got Evander Kane with Logan Couture and Kevin LABANC on what would be seemingly the first line. Ryan Donato has moved to the second line with Tomas Hertl and Patrick Marleau, actually. This is to give the lines some more balance right there. Marleau had been on the fourth line, rotating between a winger and also center most recently. The third line looks like something that we've seen before already with Noah Gregor, Dylan Gambrell, who's played the past 5 games and looked very good, and Timo Meier, who he's definitely had a rocky, inconsistent start to this season. We need more out of Timo. The guy has scored 30 goals before. I know that was with Joe Pavelski, but nonetheless, we need some more Timo time, guys. And as for the fourth line, this could go a couple of ways. So in practice, we saw Matt NIETO with Marcus Sorensen at center, which I don't think we've seen this year, or I don't even know if we've seen it the past couple of years from Marcus, along with Stefan Noesen there. The other option we could potentially see is for Sasha Chmielewski, who played a little bit for the Barracuda this past season, was a draft pick a couple of years ago. He could potentially make his way to the fourth line center with Matt NIETO, and I would think Marcus Sorensen as well, with Noesen moving out there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Chmielewski, because yeah, he has yet to make his NHL debut. He was supposed to against Colorado, but something to do with the taxi squad and roster management, he wasn't able to play in that game. I'm interested to see what this kid can bring nonetheless. And along with Chmielewski, the Sharks have recalled a couple of Barracuda players to the Sharks itself. So we have goaltender Josef Korenar, who had played a couple of seasons for the Barracuda, so he replaces Alexei Melnichuk, whom the Sharks had acquired in free agency during the offseason here from the KHL. Right winger Curtis Gabriel, whom the Sharks acquired this past offseason, has also been called up to the Sharks. He has appeared in 38 games between the Minnesota Wild and the Devils. He's a physical depth forward who has amounted to 98 penalty minutes and 108 hits in just those 38 games. And consequentially, the Sharks have had to send a few players down to the Barracuda, and I'll just name a few of them here. The big one would be John Leonard, considering he started the first 7 games for the Sharks right here with Hertl and Kane predominantly. and he had a killer training camp. So this guy probably needs to get some confidence back and kind of step away from the limelight, I suppose. He had a big turnover in that first Colorado game, which led to a shorthanded goal right there. So hopefully he gets some experience and maybe some goals under his belt here with the CUDA. Another semi-notable name that has been recalled to the Barracuda is Jake Middleton, who I thought would be our 6th defenseman this year. He had played 10 games for the Sharks this past season, but I guess he's been somewhat overplayed or outplayed by guys like Nikolai Knyzhov and even some of the other depth defensemen who have been slotted into the lineup early on as well. We have Joel Shellman, who had signed a two-way deal a 2-year two-way deal in the offseason, and I thought he was probably the best of the young forwards this past year. But nonetheless, he only played one game, the first game of this season, and I guess he just didn't do enough for this team. So he's going to go down to the CUDA. Nonetheless, I would like to see him break back into the lineup for sure. And of course, RUDOLFS BALCERS, who the Sharks had reacquired from the Ottawa Senators off of waivers. He had spent the past 2 seasons in Ottawa and was a result of the Erik Karlsson trade back in 2018. So yes, he is a Sharks draft pick, but this is just a conditioning assignment. So I think we can expect Balcers, as long as he seems pretty healthy and able to catch up with the speed of play, he can find his way back into the Sharks roster fairly soon, I think. Another story that you may have missed is that the Sharks acquired yet another depth defenseman. This is 24-year-old right-handed shot Christian Jarosz, who played previously for the Ottawa Senators, and so he was acquired in a 3-way deal. So the Sharks send Trevor Carrick, a AHL defenseman, to the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks sent a forward to the Sens, and the Sens gave us Christian Jarosz, and he appeared in 61 games just 2 seasons ago right there, averaging 14 minutes and 22 seconds of ice time. So he'll come in as a depth defenseman. A lot of the depth D-men for the Sharks have been left-handed shots, So now we actually have some versatility with a right-handed shot right there. Another guy, Frederick Claesson, who we claimed off of waivers just before the season started, he is now with the Sharks as sort of the 7th defenseman, so we'll see if either Claesson or Jarosz will get some time with the Sharks coming up here soon. So that's going to do it for this one, Twisters. The Sharks are going to be back in action on Friday, and I'll be back with plenty more content as it pertains to this team, with game recaps and series recaps, of course, with 30th anniversary content and all sorts of content that I have planned for Shark Fin Fridays. That's right, so Fridays on this channel will be devoted to Team Teal, and whether or not you're a Sharks fan, I invite you to stick around, so click the red subscribe button down below. Hit the notifications bell, that way you know when I'm uploading content or going live. Yeah, I do hockey hangouts as well with the community, and I'll catch you around for more San Jose Sharks content and more coverage around the NHL. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, my name is Nick, and I'll catch you Twisters later. Go Sharks. Go Sharks. Ciao.